Hi everyone, this is Stephanie and my friend Joanna, and we are going to be doing a game for learning evaluation on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I am actually a beginner. I've only played about 1 hour of Zelda, but we have Joanna here that has a lot more experience than I do.
Yeah, I have an embarrassing amount of hours I played on there, so I have a lot of experience, and I'm going to be describing most of it to you as we go along.
Yeah, so we hope that both of our experience can give you a good evaluation for the game. We're going to be talking about game features, pedagogical potentials that this game has, give you an overall evaluation, and provide you with some classroom activities that you can do using this game. And first, we're going to get started with game features, which Joanna is going to help us with.
So, to start off, the description of the game will kind of lay out what we're covering. The Legend of Zelda is an open world action adventure game, and the main quest is to save Princess Zelda and defeat Ganon, but it's a long journey, and it's not as simple as it sounds, it's a lot more complicated than that. But then we'll talk about it by talking about the game mechanics. So you're going to see a couple of things here. You're going to see the map, so you get to explore and navigate this open world. You also get to collect items such as food and armor and weapons and all these other special items. You also get to fight enemies and solve puzzles in order to get spirit orbs and improve your health and your stamina, and also gain new skills where they come in handy later on. So the visual aesthetic of the design. First, like Steph, what are your impressions since you've only seen like 1 hour of gameplay in this?
Yeah, so far I've only played 1 hour, but I've been very impressed. I've only know one character so far, which is Link. But the game environment is beautiful. I've been introduced into this beautiful forest, and then I ended up into like a cold mountain where it told me to get out of there because it was too cold and it was gonna lower my health. So that's what I've seen so far. What else is there?
So there's a lot. There's like regions and there's different biodiversities. There's extremes, like you saw cold. There's also very hot. There's very wet, dry. There's all these different environments. You're also going to come into or get introduced to a lot of characters, common people, enemies, royalty, things like that throughout the whole game. So you're going to run into a lot of different people, but you are Link and you're trying to navigate this world as Link.
Nice. I'm excited to keep exploring and seeing all these new things. And I think something that I've noticed so far is just like that narrative design since the beginning, where I become Link and I kind of start exploring all of this. I love that it kind of provides me with some like context and dialogue that kind of supports me in the beginning, but it like literally just tells me like, okay, go on, and I can explore wherever I want and do whatever I want.
Yeah, so it gives you objectives, but because a narrative is non-linear, meaning that you could go off in any direction that you want, it gives you new objectives. You could choose to do them, you could choose not to do them, depending on what you want to do. So it's all individual choices throughout.
Nice. Um, and then I think something great too that I've seen so far is just like sound. I was really intrigued by this little noise indicator that is present in the game, which kind of tells you the sounds and the music that is going on throughout the game. I thought that was super helpful. There's also like different alerts that kind of tell me when there's something nearby, or I know that will be alerting me if there's kind of danger around me. So that was really great. And something else that I've noticed so far, just those incentive systems, is I haven't played too much. I haven't experienced them all, but Jana will help us with this. For intrinsic incentive system, those that are related to the gameplay and the learning objectives, I've been able to see just how I can collect new tools, weapons, and kind of see my stamina and lives, like keep it high so I can continue playing. There's also extrinsic incentives.
So the extrinsic motivators within the game is that outside of all of this, There's like social motivators and things that you just personally like clothing, rare items, treasures, rupees. Since there's like a huge fandom that follows this game, since it's so popular, you get to be able to be social with this game. I'm sure it pops up all the time on Comic Con and things like that. And you can download more content once you finish the game. So there's a lot of outside factors that really motivate you to, finish this game.
Yeah, and then there's also content and skills that we'll see here.
So with the content and skills in this game, I went over the main objective of the game, but then the things that you get to learn along the way are navigation, resourcefulness, strategy, and critical thinking. And we're going to cover that in a future slide.
Yeah, so now we're going to be talking about like that pedagogical potential of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and we can see just with the skills and content that Joanna talked about that there's a lot of potential here. I think something that we want to recognize is that game-based learning has a lot of different learning theories that it is based on. We can see, for example, constructivism here by seeing just that open world and us role playing as Link. There's info processing theory with all the maps, sounds of movements that we saw, and even behaviorism, just with the reinforcement of desired behavior by kind of like having all those tools and things that you can pick up along the way. Now that we kind of talk about that, we can see how we can really include this into our teaching. For example, in a social science class, the narrative and interactivity provides a lot of different ways you can include it, just learning about different cultures, learning about the journey that someone is taking. Economics, here you are you have a lot of choices that you have to take throughout the game. So you are able to apply economic concepts such as like trade-offs, learn about like marginal benefit, marginal cost while you are playing this. And also there's science and cognitive skills, which Joanna will tell us more about.
Yeah, so science, there's a lot of biodiversity, there's a lot of navigation environment, and even like you cook in this game where you have to consider your health and what, different ingredients do to your body. So there's some science in it, and there's also cognitive skills. So you have to have a lot of visual spatial attention, also kind of like prioritization and project management where you have to figure out what you want to do first, next, because it's a free world where you can do what you want, and shifting functions like how you move from one task to the next, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so there's lots of potential there. And here's just a little bit of the overall evaluation we did.
So the way that we evaluated it was off of game-based learning and the challenges that you face and the price. We noticed that it's not just playful learning or gamification, it's a full range of all of that. So it's like fully considered game-based learning. It has a good balance of all of that. The challenges that you face, you get to learn about navigation, resources, strategies, puzzles, and riddles throughout the way and use all those cognitive skills. And then the price, it is a little pricier, and there are times where it goes on sale, but then it's $60 for the game and $300 for the Switch console.
Yeah, and something cool is that maybe you can share one between like your entire class. And now we can kind of talk about what kind of classrooms activities you can do with this game. And here is one of them. Our learning objective for this activity could be students will be able to use cardinal directions to guide their movements. And as we've seen, there's a lot of navigation for this game as it is an open world. So if a student wants to direct a fellow student on how to get to a specific part of the game they're in, they will be able to use those cardinal directions to tell them where to move. And they will be able to arrive there with those directions. There's also the economics learning objective. For example, students will be able to assess the opportunity cost of the choices they are presented with. As we know, players need to have a lot of decisions to take in this game. They have a lot of resources, and they need to know how to spend their health levels. So every time they are presented with a new choice, they kind of can assess this opportunity cost, and then they can bring it back to the real life and use what they've learned there, where in an environment where there's not as much at stake, but now they can apply it into real world where there's definitely a lot more that they can win or lose. So yeah, that's it. Just a few examples. I know we can provide you a lot more, so feel free to let us know if you want to talk more about it.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.